Hi everyone, welcome back to the Potsmoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Potsmoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament, of the Christian Bible. I use the King James Version of the Christian Bible in order to put together the prophecy of Israel from this testimony of the various prophets of the Old Testament. And what I came up with was the Book of Zion, a self-fulfilling prophecy. I wrote a book about a prophecy about a book that I wrote. And then, just for good measure, I followed the instructions that it gave me, and here I am, publishing peace. The final prerequisite for my ascension as Zion of the Most High God of Israel, prophet of the Great, maker of first contact with the aliens. Yay me. Okay, today I'm reading to you from the 18th chapter of the Potsmoker's Bible, which contains the 15th chapter of the Book of Zion. I had to write the Potsmoker's Bible as a commentary to the Book of Zion in order to publish it. Publishing peace is my last thing that I'm having to do. So here I am. Now, I'm going to take up where I left off. The 15th chapter of Zion is called And the Songs of the Temple. And yesterday, or last time, I was reading from the first part of the book of the Potsmoker's Bible. And I'm going to pick up where I left off. And the Songs of the Temple goes. We also sing for the grave. We sing and howl because of the dire conditions of humanity. And we sing to keep the peace. We sing to release our pent-up emotions and to explain why we feel this way. The Grey are not only our creator, they are our teachers. They inspire our words. So if you want to understand the Grey or the alien Grey, listen to our music. It says it all. We may sing loud and intensely, but that's because we have been pushed beyond endurance. We scream our anger and pain. We demand justice. We know the truth. We know we are justified. And are and we know who is not. Our music proclaims our reality. Our people are to the point of violence. We watch as our friends and loved ones are abused, imprisoned, and killed. We are said to be evil. We are treated as less than human. We are forced to work twice as hard for half as much. And we are not allowed to stand up and defend ourselves or our inalienable rights. And so we scream our frustration and project our very human desire to push back. And this frustration has led us to the place we needed to be. The Grey, in their wise plan, created us to be nonviolent, like they are. But to free ourselves, we would have to use our human side. Our Grey traits can't help us overcome our enemies. We had to be forced to use our own human side. Our innate dislike of negative emotions had to be overcome to purge our primitive human nature. Our rage is necessary. We have to use human means to fight our human enemies and to purge our human tendency for violence. That is why the Grey had to let the war on drugs rage. They gave humans the chance to destroy us, so that we would be forced to defend ourselves. And forced is the right word. When we activate our Grey genes, we suppress our human genes. And we suppress our baser instincts to use force. We are no longer genetically Neanderthal. Humans are distinctly unique in the genome, just as Zionites are. as opposed to Neanderthals in our genetics. The genetic variance from one generation to the next differentiates species over time. The introduction of marijuana into the human population has caused a new genome to be created, or I should say recreated. When we activate our gray genes, we evolve into a human gray. We then pass on our new genome onto our children. Each passing generation will differentiate humans from grays just as humans differentiated from Neanderthals. The plan the gray followed created a new species, and marijuana therefore equals gray, the seed of Israel. We are not only a minority being held captive for our choice of pastime activities and nothing more. We are a new species of human origin. Zion is not a nation as much as it is a species. We have the right to exist. We have the right to be different. We are of the earth, too. We are a separate people, a true minority. We are the next evolution of humanity. The God that created the human race did so to allow our Neanderthal genes to mature. Human is our teenage stage. Now we can reactivate our gray DNA. We have matured enough to safely use our innate abilities. Now I want to make clear that this gray DNA is minuscule. When the gray came to Earth, they created us as a form of an insurance policy, an emergency supply of DNA for the cloning, ensuring that their DNA would in some form remain. They gave us less than 1% of their genetic code, just enough to ensure our mutual survival. We are not them. We are human. The name Gray with a small g is not intended to mean that we are not 100% of this earth. Our gray DNA has been a part of our physical bodies since we were volunteered to the gray as Neanderthals. We are humans, just human 2.0. So the gray will come to the aid of their children, the human grays. They will use the prophecy to refute the right of the governments to abuse my people. This is the controversy of Zion, the long hidden truth of the Torah. When the God of Israel returns, it will be to aid the newly created people of Zion. The arrival of the gray will ensure the fulfillment of prophecy. They will come to the human grays when the human grays are in their tents. They will judge society. The prophecy will be fulfilled in its entirety. My people will be awarded a homeland and national statehood with intergalactic recognition and entry into the Grey Council. We will be citizens of the intergalactic society. Our future will be assured. Then, when we are safe from our enemies, the Grey will do what is necessary for the survival of all current life forms on Earth. They will destroy the polluting elements of society, not to overthrow or destroy humanity, but to ensure a future for those who are to survive. It's not enough to safeguard Zion. The Grey must end our self-destructive society before it destroys us entirely. The Grey know what is going to happen as a result of our lack of foresight. We would be destroyed. just as our forebears were destroyed by the flood. Global warming has already destroyed us. The only thing we can do now is to prepare for our survival. The gray are stepping in again to save us from ourselves. The refusal of humanity to address the real dangers of pollution has been our destruction. Greed has denied humanity the opportunity to save ourselves. The reason the governments allow pollution to continue after it was proven dangerous was because they sided with the corporations and didn't stop unsafe practices for profit. If we had instituted the necessary shutdown of all non essential industries long enough to invent safe alternatives to end pollution, we could have prevented the firestorm to come, or at least mitigated the damage done to the earth. But instead, the governments let industry go unchecked. When we get to Zion, all non essential industries will be shut down. We will rebuild our infrastructure to be zero emissions. We can not continue to use harmful and dangerous methods to operate our country or our society. The gray are coming to save humanity and as much biodiversity of life as they can. We are not being invaded. Our gray father race protects us from ourselves, whether we like it or not. We have set in motion a cataclysmic series of events that would destroy us if they didn't step in to save us. Our scientists are just beginning to realize the true extent of our folly. They make predictions, then report that things are moving faster than expected. That's because they don't yet understand the true scope of the disaster to come. And the governments, meanwhile, debate if it's real. They seek to postpone the problem. They want to continue with business as usual. And the businesses through lobbyists and political domination ensure that that is what is happening. Governments have postponed the inevitable by debating the issue. As a result, they have doomed their ecosystem. Climate change is very real. It is worse than you are able so far to understand. Feedback loops ensure an escalation of gas buildup. We are experiencing a chemical transformation in our atmosphere. Changing our atmospheric composition is what we are doing. We cannot continue to alter Earth's chemistry. We need our atmosphere as it was. The methane buildup in our atmosphere is the true danger. The eventual cause of the firestorm unleashed by humanity. All who refuse shelter from the gray will not survive. Humans do not yet have the means to protect ourselves. So, by refusing to address pollution, the governments of the world destroyed themselves. But it's their own fault. They had the opportunity and the means to prevent the worst effects to come. Had we put an end to pollution in the 70s, we could have avoided the mountain altogether. Now, the best we can do is to keep the internment time to a minimal. But it's the government's fault that this is happening at all. So may the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. Make that your happiness. Stay happy and high if you use drugs. Love you. Later. I'll never say goodbye.